Welcome to dojo.live, the place where top minds in travel and hospitality check in to share insights and breakthroughs shaping the industry. Brought to you by Encora, your trusted partner for AI, cloud, and data-driven innovation. Enjoy your stay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dojo Live at HITEC 2025 here in Indianapolis, Indiana. I am with the BirchStreet Systems folks, David Schloss and Phil Beck. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me today to talk about the industry, to talk about what you're doing specifically for the industry. But to get us started, if you could please just introduce yourselves briefly and kind of your role and what you're doing with BirchStreet.
Fantastic. Thanks for having us. My name is David Schloss. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at BirchStreet. Been in technology for a little over 3 decades. So love this show. Great access to some tremendous people and some great technology. Look forward to sharing some innovation with you today.
Amazing.
Great.
And Phil.
Great. Phil Beck. I'm the EVP and GM of the payments business at BirchStreet. Been in the industry about 30 years between payments and technology. So excited to share how it's impacting hospitality.
All right. Just a little while.
Just a little while. I'm dating myself. Yes.
So, Phil, payments are becoming, my understanding, more and more complex in hospitality. You've got fraud risk, you've got reconciliation, virtual cards now. What are the major challenges that you're seeing hotels face right now, specifically for procurement payments, and what kind of innovations are out there to solve it?
Sure, absolutely. I would say all of our customers have been experiencing a labor shortage issue the last few years, or complexity with labor. So it's making harder to process payments, and most are still very manual. They're still doing a lot of checks, limited ACH, limited use of card. And so I would say from a challenge standpoint, most of our customers want to get automated to both solve that labor challenge, help them get more efficient, but also to generate more on ACH, on card transactions, which have much lower fraud to them. So fraud has become a bigger and bigger issue, especially in checks, where check washing has become super prevalent in the industry. So that trend has hit hospitality. Everybody's focused on trying to get the checks out, get to a digital solution that obviously makes it more environmentally friendly, but it drives labor savings and ultimately at the end of the day, some rebates off of the card transaction. So that's the focus in the industry. And I think where we're doing it is actually embedding it in our procure-to-pay stack to make it a simple, elegant, easy experience for operators on property and centralized to digitize and get full value out of it.
Amazing. Let's talk a bit about these smarter procurement and payments workflows. What types of, how is that contributing, I guess, to the broader goals of a hotel? Cost savings. I think we talked about ESG clients a little bit, the guest experience.
Sure. Yeah, I would say all companies, and especially in hospitality, have the desire to do more with less. And so the more it can be automated, the better they can achieve that mission, is to do more with less, but also do it better. So do it with less effort, but in a better, more controlled manner, whether that's the tying back to procurement and all of the procure to pay infrastructure we built, or getting it fully automated for the entire guest experience. So that's what our customers are focused on. That's what we're delivering with our payments experience.
All right. I guess, David, this one's for you. Your time to shine here at BirchStreet Systems. What are you shining light to here at HITEC? Any of your new innovations, features, conversations that you're especially excited to be having?
Sure. So, there's a constant pressure on margins for every business, right? So as ADR is not increasing at the same pace as inflation, particularly labor costs, puts a lot of pressure on the bottom line for these businesses. So not only are they dealing with a lot of complexity with owners and management companies and pricing requirements, you now have to deal with how do you control costs in the most effective way? And how do you do it in a way that doesn't constrain your resources? So what's critically important is to have very efficient tools and systems and processes that allow for control of costs, but allow for it at a level that's really simple. So how do you take something that can be incredibly complex, because the number of suppliers and the number of workflows that could be in there, and how do you simplify that? So that's what we're focused on through our Smart AP, is providing a tool set that gives people access to really intuitive and simple technology that drives a much more efficient process that controls costs and allows you to reach your bottom line objectives. There aren't a lot of levers left, and controlling your expenses on procurement is one of the key ways that you can help improve margins.
Absolutely.
So our focus on smart ID accomplishes all that.
Yeah, absolutely. And about that, like what trends, I guess, in the industry as a whole are shaping how BirchStreet is integrating or partners, across the entire ecosystem? What should hotels be keeping in mind when we are looking for those tools and those partnerships?
So they should look for a partner that is collaborative and that's willing to work and integrate with some other technologies. We have a platform, so we accomplish a lot for hospitality technology, but we don't do everything. No one does, right? So you have to use best in class and best in breed. So it's important to have technologies that work well with others. You recognize that the integrations of these technologies can simplify the experience. And the most important part of that is the data, right? So having access to timely and accurate data allows businesses to make prudent and pragmatic decisions. So working with partners that are open, right, is the most critical aspect.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anything to add to that, David?
I was going to add one more comment. I think given the amount of change in high tech, you see it, right? All the technology change. Our customers want partnership. They want us to partner with them to find solutions to solve their problems, to ingrain it into our solution through our roadmap, and actually bring that innovation to them in a way they can consume and impact their ultimate business to deliver that outcome. It's confusing. There's just a lot of change out there. So they're looking to us to be that trusted advisor, somebody who knows hospitality and can bring that technology and embed it in our stack.
Absolutely, absolutely. Zooming out a bit here in terms of trends in general, future trends that you think hospitality industry maybe isn't talking about enough yet or talking too much about?
Well, I think there's a lot of different trends taking place, right? We're seeing a trend in the market where brands are becoming more asset-light and focusing on their value as to the franchise. So how do they deliver tools and technologies to the franchise to increase the value that they offer to that franchise, not just in the brand? We're seeing more globalization. So how do people take advantage of the market demand that exists outside North America? Because we're getting a little squeezed here in North America with some of the travel. So how do you make sure you reduce risk by exposing yourself to opportunities globally, right? So we see that trend. We also see a trend globally to really reduce and become more efficient electronically. So there's a lot of compliance requirements, particularly in Europe, on electronic invoicing. So we're seeing a trend for businesses to be required to drive more digital data process than pushing paper.
Yep.
So there's a lot going on out there. And so there's no one thing. I think the complexity of the model is there's so much change and so many compliance and country and laws and regulations, whether it's ESG or digital requirements or the pressure on tariffs. It's hard to manage all of this. And to Phil's point, you need a partner that's 2 steps ahead.
Yeah.
So you don't have to figure out what's going on in all these different areas. You can rely on a partner who understands the business and understands the requirements of where you're taking the business.
Absolutely. Any other trends, Phil, that you'd like to add?
Well, I'll just throw in a little bit on the payment side. We talked about it at the beginning. I think fraud is one of those things that is there and it's been increasing, but quietly. Not many people like to talk about the fact that there's fraud happening in their payments. It's sort of the dirty little secret of checks. And so, especially here in the US where checks are very prevalent, I think that is a trend that should be talked about more, and how moving to digital payments, whether it's an ACH or a card, really helps with fraud. So that's an area I think our customers are beginning to open up a bit about, but they've been reluctant maybe to engage because it's a dirty little area to admit.
Yeah, we do have to launder our laundry.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for bringing insight into payments, to procurement, and all of that, what that means. To continue this conversation, if people want to learn more about BirchStreet specifically, talk to you guys directly, what's the best way to go about doing that?
The best way would be to contact either myself or Phil directly at dschloss@birchstreet.net.
All right.
Feedback at BirchStreet.net.
All right. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, and a great high-tech team. Well,
Great. Thanks, Kim.
thank you.
Thanks.
Bye for now, everyone.